Hey, what is going on guys? Welcome back to a new video, and today we're going to play some games on the RTX 2060, and it will be very interesting to see how games perform because this RTX 2060 is plugged into a computer which is running the Core i7-3770, and that is Intel 3rd generation Ivy Bridge. And also, you heard that correct, this is the 3770 non-K CPU, so no overclocking on this, and this motherboard does not allow any overclocking. So this is an HP branded motherboard, and this one came out of this HP desktop. You see, back in 2012 when Intel released the i7-3770 and the 3770K, both of these processors were quite popular amongst enthusiasts and gamers and were quite common in high-end gaming PCs. And what I want to see here is that if we use an RTX 2060 with the i7-3770, how much of a bottleneck the CPU really is, if it's even worth upgrading this board system to the latest GPU. And guys, I have already tested out the RTX 2070 with this configuration, so make sure to check that video out, link is over here. But let me tell you, the RTX 2070 was being bottlenecked by the slow CPU, so it's really not worth getting the RTX 2060 for the i7-3770. So let's quickly take a look at the overclock setting and the driver version. So we are running the 419.67 driver at the time of recording this video. This is the latest Nvidia driver, and we've got 118 power limit, plus 75 MHz on the core clock, and plus 25 MHz on the memory clock. That's not much, but that's as far as I'm willing to go with the Founders Edition. And my display resolution is 1080p, 60Hz, 16 gigs of RAM, i7-3770, and the RTX 2060. And I think I should also tell you that running games at lower resolutions like 720p and 1080p does stress out the CPU a little bit more than the GPU. That happens because a powerful GPU like this has a lot of headroom available at lower resolutions, and it will just crank out a lot of FPS. But if you guys want, I will do a 4K gaming test on this card. So do let me know in the comments if you want to see 4K gaming on the 2060. And guys, the way I'm going to do this video is going to be slightly different than how most reviewers do. Most reviewers generally put out some kind of graphs, but I'm actually going to play the game and you guys will be able to see the frame rate on the screen. So this is our maximum frame rate, the middle is average, and this is minimum. So you guys will be able to see all of this stuff all the time on the screen. And this is our GPU usage, GPU temperature, GPU memory, GPU clock speed, the CPU clock speed, CPU usage, CPU temperature, and the system RAM. And that's your real-time frame rate. So yeah, it's nice that you can see all this stuff on here, and I'll put the camera here and start playing. So before we begin the benchmarks, let me also tell you that the camera I use to record my videos, the Sony Alpha A6300, this one does 4K in 24.9 FPS. So there is no 60 FPS option for 4K recording on this camera. So whatever you will see on your screen is actually being recorded in 24.9 FPS, but you guys will be able to see the actual frame rate on the screen right over here. Alright guys, got Shadow of the Tomb Raider running. So let's take a look at the video settings real quick. So it's running in 1080p, and I've turned on anti-aliasing, it's at SMAA. Then if we go to graphics, you can see everything is set to ultra, and yes, texture filtering is turned on. I've kept it at 2x because I want more performance out of the card. Then pure here is also turned on, and this is the maximum it goes. Alright, so let's go ahead and play the game. Okay guys, so this is where I'm going to start the benchmark, and right from the start you can see the CPU is pinned at 100%. That's called a CPU bottleneck. And you can see the GPU still has about 16-17% headroom available. But the thing is, we are getting a decent frame rate here, and the game is maxed out. So we are getting 103 FPS, and in fact you can turn on VSync and enjoy this game at 60 FPS solid, maxed out. You can also max out anti-aliasing, no problems. And the reason why I'm saying 60 FPS is because most of you guys will not have a 120Hz monitor. So it does not really make sense to play the game at 120 FPS, but look at that, the frame rate has dropped till 34. And this is a CPU bottleneck. You can see the GPU usage is at 50% and the CPU is at 100%. i7-3770, is it obsolete? Maybe. But if you can manage these frame rates, no problem.
but I think I would say it's time for an upgrade, because even with an RTX 2060, which is a mid-range graphics card, seems to cap out at a very low FPS in this scene in the game. But the thing is, the game is playable. I mean, there is no lags as such in the game. And you know what, guys, this is a very similar result to what we saw on the RTX 2070, where our CPU was maxing out, and it's the exact same thing happening on the RTX 2060. So what if you guys have a 3770K and you can overclock that CPU to compensate for the higher speed of the GPU? Maybe if you have the 3770K, you can like stick with it for a few months and then upgrade to 10th generation Intel. Now you can see, as soon as we got out of that crowded place, the situation is a little bit better, but still the CPU is at 100% most of the times. But the frame rate is pretty decent. Alright guys, so this is as far as I'll go, because I think I might die over here and I don't want to see a loading screen, because loading screen will reset these numbers. But anyways, we got a maximum of 137 FPS, 75 average and 33 low. And the minimum FPS is not because of the graphics card, it's because of the slow CPU. And if you had a faster CPU, the RTX 2060 will be able to crank out a lot more FPS. So got Rise of the Tomb Raider running. Let's take a look at the video settings real quick. So display 1080p, and then I've turned down the anti-aliasing to FXAA. Now this is because I've been taking feedback from you guys, and a lot of you guys suggested to keep the anti-aliasing at FXAA. Now we won't be comparing these results to the RTX 2070 video, because I had the anti-aliasing turned all the way up to SSAA4X. And if you do that on the RTX 2060, you guys can see it has a massive impact on the frame rate. I mean, the game feels a little bit slower and the frame rate drops to 55. So we do want the frame rate a little bit higher than that, so that's why FXAA is just fine. And then if you go into graphics, you can see everything is set to very high, which is maxed out. So even pure here is set to high. But again, I have turned down the anisotropic filter to 2x. In my RTX 2070 video, I had this turned up all the way up to 16x. So we'll keep the anisotropic filter down to 2x just because we want more performance out of this card. But anyway, let's go ahead and play this. Start the benchmark. Everything is nice and smooth, and you can see the game scales quite well. 94% GPU usage and 88% on the CPU. Look at this, guys, the game is running quite well. We're getting an average of 104 FPS, 131 max and 83 was our lowest. Alright, so we are at the next stage. Let's begin the benchmark. Alright guys, I think that's it for this part. The RTX 2060 does handle Rise of the Tomb Raider at maximum settings quite well at 1080p. So we've got a maximum FPS of 139, 104 was our average and 60 was the lowest. But yeah, the game is easier on the CPU compared to Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Alright, so now let's move on to the next game. So this is Metro Exodus, and this is one of the few games that actually support ray tracing. So let's head over to options, video. You can see the quality is set to extreme, VSync is off, motion blur high, DirectX 12, then Nvidia RTX is turned on and ray tracing is set to ultra. So maximum quality and DLSS is also turned on, Hairworks on, physics on. So basically this game is running at maximum possible settings at 1080p. So let's see how the RTX 2060 performs in this game. There is a lot of screen tearing in this game. I mean, when I move my mouse, I can literally see the frames separating over here, which makes me want to turn on VSync, because once you turn on VSync, the frame rate will be capped at 60, and the game does run much better as you turn on VSync. Yeah, not exactly fun. Did you see that? Now look at this. I've turned on VSync, frame rate is capped to 60, CPU usage and GPU usage both have dropped a little bit, and look at that, no more screen tearing. Since we're doing some testing over here, let's disable VSync. Yeah, you can see everything is set to ultra. And you see that? Okay, so I've changed some settings, like motion blur is now set to low, and RTX setting, the ray tracing is now set to high. Previously it was on ultra, so I turned it down a little bit just so we could get some better performance. Okay, you can see the performance is a little bit better now. Yes, the game is a little bit smoother. Alright guys, so this is as far as I'll go, and we've got maximum FPS of 88, 57 average and 34 was minimum. We are getting about 60 right now. Okay guys, so take a look at this. I have disabled Nvidia ray tracing, so let's go back to video, and I've just disabled ray tracing. Everything else is set to max. See, quality is extreme. All the other settings are maxed out. And take a look at the frame rate, and we are now getting an average of 68 FPS. That's 10 FPS more, and just general gameplay is now smoother. So yeah, it does make quite a bit of difference once you disable ray tracing, and visual quality has gone down slightly, especially this water, but it's alright. I'm ready to sacrifice all this for better FPS. Now, are you guys watching this part? Look at the CPU usage and the GPU usage. The CPU is slightly bottlenecking the RTX 2060. So I got Battlefield 5 running here, and right from the start you can see there is a CPU bottleneck. I mean, the CPU is almost at 100%, now it's 100%, and our graphics card still has about 30% power remaining. So yeah, this might be an optimization issue, but I don't think so, because the recommended CPU for Battlefield 5 is the 4790K. So we are not meeting the recommended specs for this game. And by the way, I'm running the game in ultra settings, and you can see 1080p. We go to advanced, ray tracing is turned on, Nvidia DLSS is also turned on, and then if we scroll down here you can see every setting is set to ultra. So game does work, but yeah, the CPU is heavily bottlenecking this game. But anyway, let's do a quick benchmark. I don't think I'll be able to enjoy this game, but yeah, just keep an eye on that CPU usage and the frame rate, because whenever the CPU usage is way too high, the frame rate does see a dip. So guys, look at this. The GPU usage is at 44% and our CPU is like maxing out. You know what guys, this game is not exactly fun to play on such a slow CPU. I mean, this is not a graphics card issue here, it's the CPU which is maxing out. Look at that. Look at the frame rate. It's not exactly fun to play, and our lowest FPS has been 17, which is bad. And if you even a casual gamer like myself, I'm not enjoying this game just because the frame rate is not consistent enough. And once again, this is not the RTX 2060, it's the CPU. So Battlefield 5 came out with its own battle royale mode called Firestorm, and unfortunately I cannot get this to run on the i7 3770. Even dropped down the video settings to like high from ultra. You see all these settings have been dropped down. That might be due to the fact that the recommended CPU for Firestorm is i7 8700 for the AMD Ryzen 2700. So this CPU does not even meet the
recommended specs. I've updated the Nvidia driver, I've checked for any driver update, game updates. Yeah, does not seem to work. Restarted the PC, disabled overclocking. Basically, I've tried everything. This game just won't load. So this is what happens. The game just won't go beyond this loading screen, and look at that CPU usage. So I guess what's happening is that because of the slow CPU, the game spends so much time loading that the connection just times out. And after like 4 minutes, I see this black screen and the game gets disconnected from the server. And that is the end of that. So yeah, I could not get Battlefield 5, this Firestorm mode running no matter what I did. Alright guys, got Apex Legends running on the computer, and looks like we are getting 65 FPS. The CPU and the GPU both are maxing out in this game, and settings are set to max, so everything is maxed out. I've also turned on anti-aliasing, so every setting is maxed out, and let's see how the game performs. And look at that CPU usage, it's like 100% almost all the time. So I'm gonna start benchmark as soon as we land. Alright, so here we go. Well, this sucks, I just died. So we've got a maximum FPS of 145, 91 average, 41 minimum. But thing is, most of the time the CPU is maxing out at 100%, but the game is playable. I don't see anything wrong with it. So yeah, Apex Legends, thumbs up. So this is Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus or new Colossi, whatever you want to call it. And it looks like this game is bottlenecked by the CPU. And this game is almost maxed out, and look at that, the CPU does touch 100% and our GPU still has about 40% power remaining. We are not even close to maxing out our graphics card. But the thing is, you cannot exactly max out this game because once you do max out, the game sort of uses more than 6 gigabytes of video memory, and then the GPU's video memory becomes a bottleneck. And I did spend quite a bit of time tweaking this game to my liking, and the minimum FPS will never dip below 71, so that's a plus sign. So let me take you to the video settings and show you what I've changed. So options, video, we are running in 1080p, vertical sync is off, and anti-aliasing is set to max. And let's go to advanced settings, and as you can see, everything is maxed out. Now you might say this is maxed out, but it's actually not, because some of these settings over here do crank up to uber. So for example, shadows, you cannot turn this setting up, the game just maxes out on the video memory and then it just becomes slow. So this has to be on ultra, you cannot turn it up to maximum, even though the GPU still has more processing power available. Then the next setting I had to turn down was image streaming. So this one also goes up to uber, but yeah, ultra is the maximum for the RTX 2060 because of the limitation of video memory. Then rest of the settings are set to ultra, and these ones don't exactly go higher than this. Even water quality is set to ultra, volumetric quality is set to high, and turned up these filtering options. And if you go down here, Nvidia adaptive shading is set to balanced. You cannot set it to performance, then the game just starts lagging. And the thing is, you don't exactly lose much visual quality with these settings. I mean, the game does look quite stunning, and I like it. Now look at this, guys. Once you're actually playing the game, things seems okay. I mean, look at that, 101 FPS minimum, 152 average, and 242 was max. But let's take the minimum FPS that we got in the U-boot as our minimum. So guys, we are running Wolfenstein New Order, and this game is maxed out, vertical sync turned off. That's why you can see that horrible banding right over here whenever I try and move the mouse. So yeah, but the thing is, this game is capped at 60 FPS, and you can see that right over here. Now let's go to settings, options and video settings. You can see vertical sync is disabled, but the game is still capped to 60 FPS. So I'm gonna enable vertical sync because the game kind of does run better when vertical sync is turned on. So let's go to advanced options, and you can see the game is set to ultra settings. I mean, this is as far as it goes. This is high, So yeah, the game is running at maximum settings. So let's exit this and see how the game works. So yeah, that annoying banding has gone away. But hey, the game is working fine. The CPU usage is not that much. Yeah, this sort of a game is not a big deal for this GPU, and even the CPU works fine. Freaking doggy. So guys, Wolfenstein New Order works perfectly fine on this configuration. There are no slowdowns, although we did have a minimum FPS of 58, but I don't think that matters because the game is not lagging on anything. So everything is working fine. No problems with Wolfenstein New Order. The RTX 2060 is perfectly capable of playing this. And even the CPU is not really maxing out in this game. I think we can even run this game in 1440p. I think this card will run this game, no problem. Alright guys, so here we are playing Doom. There's a demon here. Anyway, we are running this game in Vulkan. I'm running this game in Vulkan because from my experience this game does perform better in Vulkan. So let me show you my settings. Let's go to settings, let's go to video. We are running in 1080p, and yes, I have turned on anti-aliasing to max. Then let's go to advanced. You can see all the settings are set to maximum, including this filtering option is also set to isotropic 16x. And you see all the settings are set to max. So this game is maxed out, and look at that frame rate, 163. The processor is pinned to 100%. The GPU still has about like 16-17% of power remaining. So if we had a faster CPU, we'll get a little bit more frame rate, but I'm totally okay with this. Anyway, let's begin the benchmark. Alright guys, so that's it for Doom. I'm not gonna play this game for much long because it seems to work alright. So 201 FPS max, 178 is our average, and 117 low. So this is Dota 2, and this game is currently maxed out. So if you go to video, you can see everything is maxed out including shadows. And 1080p, exclusive full screen, DirectX 11. And yeah, seems to work okay, and I'm just gonna let it run and see what happens. So guys, this is Dota 2. We've got a maximum frame rate of 130, 96 average, and 69 was the lowest. And this game is mostly CPU bound. The RTX 2060 can push more frame rate in this game. So guys, concluding thoughts. I feel that the i7-3770 is still doing a great job keeping up with the latest games, but if you want the best experience in the latest video games, then it is time for an upgrade. And you guys have just seen how Battlefield 5 Firestorm mode takes so much time in loading that the connection to the server just times out. And I'm myself waiting for the 3rd generation Ryzen 7. Alright guys, I hope this video was helpful. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.